I volunteer! I volunteer! I volunteer as tribute.
Hey guys, it's the Film Teen, and I'm back again with another video, and today we will be talking about The Hunger Games. So I want to start a series on my channel where I talk about franchises and dedicate one episode to each movie in the franchise. So I thought, my sister and I have been watching a bunch of the Hunger Games movies lately. What better way to start the series? So here you go. This episode will be about the first movie in the Hunger Games franchise. I also wanted to say thank you guys for watching so much. Thank you for subscribing and thank you for all the support. I really love to talk to you guys. If you liked the video, subscribe, like, comment, and I can keep making more. And once again, thank you for watching. Spoiler alert! Time to review. As many of you may know, the screenplay for this movie was written by the original novelist, Suzanne Collin, so the story remains very similar. And this was likely my introduction to Jennifer Lawrence, as this was a very big movie in 2010, I think? And like all other movies, there are good parts and bad parts. Like how lots of people dislike the shaky cam, but I really like it. I think that it establishes District 12 in a very interesting way, and I think it's kind of fine because later in the movie, after the games start and when they get to the Capitol, I noticed that they slow down on the shaky cam in exchange for more steady moving shots. The score is also very atmospheric, and I love the way it enhances certain important moments in the story, like the transition between Katniss getting on the train from District 12 to the Capitol, or Rue's death, or even the search for Peeta after the new rules are announced. I like how the performances in the movie lead on to the characters' past, especially with Jennifer Lawrence and Woody Harrelson especially. And I think a very underrated part of this movie franchise in general is the supporting cast. Like, oh my gosh, Stanley Tucci as the Caesar Flick big news announcer guy, Elizabeth Banks as Effie Trinket, Amandla Steinberg as Rue. I mean, the list goes on, especially as they add more characters as the franchise keeps moving. And overall, I really like the pacing and the build-up that this movie has, and I think that the training sequences are always just the perfect pregame to the actual Hunger Games themselves. And some parts of the movie that we saw are actually quite timely now, like Rue's death and subsequent police rioting that happened, which sadly looked really accurate to some of the recent news broadcasts. And the Reaping Start montage, man, I really love that the director was just like, yeah, there's gonna be blood in this movie. He just threw us in the deep end with the violence. The Reaping Start montage. I kinda don't like that it exists. Hear me out. It just seems to me like they're building up to this event and then the montage itself just kind of skips over a lot of things. But it's kind of fine because the way they make up for it in the second movie, for me, is the best thing ever. I'll talk about that more in the second episode. And the shaky cam does seem unnecessary to me in certain shots. Like there is one scene in the transition between Katniss and Peeta getting on the train with Effie, where they're looking at a hallway to get into the train, and there's loud dramatic music playing, and the camera is shaking. For no reason. And it just makes me laugh when I watch it because it's just so unnecessary. But overall, it's fine. It only lasts for a few seconds. Then, after the games start, I feel like I have some issues with how the tracker Jacker Venom scenes are played. It just gets a little cringy for me. And after Katniss shoots Cato in the end, there is one moment where it turns from like nighttime to daytime in like 10 seconds, which is insane. But that's it. Overall, I mean, I really enjoy watching this movie. I'd give it a 4 out of 5 star rating. Now I'd like to take a minute to look at the novels and showcase some clear differences between the film and the book, just in case you're interested in the story and haven't read them. I'd recommend it because they're pretty short. I mean, I've read them. I haven't read it in a while though, so my knowledge of the book may not be 100% accurate, but if you're interested, I'd encourage you to check out some other book channels. So, first things first, in the book, the Peacekeepers are a much more human entity. They talk with the people at the Hob, and they even participate in the market. Matter of fact, that's the only reason that Katniss and Gale were allowed to go out in the fence, as far as I remember, because the Peacekeepers let hunters go and get game because they knew that when they brought them back to the Hob and put them on the market, they could buy them to eat. Also, the movie does mention that Gale's name was entered into the Reaping 42 times, which I didn't notice until I just recently watched it. But I feel like that's a nice touch of horror. Basically, there's a system set up in the story where if you have a very poor family, you can enter your name more in exchange for packages of food or grain to be sent to them. Also, the older you get until you reach 18, your name gets put in the Reaping multiple times, a lot more as you get up there. And last but not least, a quick story from the book that did get totally axed from the film is the story of the Capitol Servants. I'm sure there's a name for it, but I don't remember it right now, so I'm just gonna call them Capitol Servants. Basically, there is one part in the book where Katniss was out in the woods hunting for game, and she saw a girl or someone running through the woods trying to get someplace. It seems like there were people that have escaped their districts and were out trying to survive in the woods, like Gale said he wanted to. But Katniss does see this person get sucked up by an airship, a capital airship, right before she sees the girl go. They notice each other's faces. Later in the movie, when Katniss is on her way through the hotel after she's been selected from the Reaping, they're having dinner, and one of the servants setting the table just so happens to be the girl that Katniss saw in the woods when she was on her journey. And I really like this story because it just overall adds to the suspense and fear of the Capitol. Like, this is what they do to people. They cut out their tongues. And surely enough, I can give you more details like that in episode 2 when we delve deeper into the franchise. But some interesting ideas that I had while watching this movie are, how does trauma affect a population? And how is trauma used as a tool in society? And most importantly, how does media use that tool to manipulate people? When Katniss was having a conversation with Gale in the beginning, she mentioned that she never wanted to have kids. And I know that some girls do think like that when they're younger, but can you imagine an entire population being conditioned to just not want to reproduce out of fear? Another interesting idea that I thought about when I was watching the movie is, how do organizations and political systems just operate? Because according to the Hunger Games, it seems like despite what they may say, organizations never work in anyone's best interest, unless that person's best interest is actively contributing to fuel the organization. And lastly, I think that the desensitization and glorification of violence in the Capitol is a very interesting thing to think about. I mean, are teenagers in America being affected by things in a similar way by our media now? Maybe. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and this is a start to a new thing for me. I'm planning on reviewing the second movie of the Hunger Games, Catching Fire, in the next episode of this series. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in these stories. Thanks again for watching, and thank you for subscribing. I really love the support that I'm getting on these videos, and I love to talk to you guys. That's the reason I started this channel. And so if you want to comment and say something to me, then hey, I'll respond. I see all of your comments. So if you like the video, please keep watching because I will keep making them. It's very fun. And I also have a letterbox if you guys are into that stuff. But once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.